Welcome to the Blabbermalt Show with your hosts, Dave and Mathias, two guys that blabber incessantly about beer, brewing, and bullcrap. Stick around while they brew up another tasty episode.
All right. What's going on?
Blabbermaltsters, welcome.
Welcome.
Got another tasty episode for you.
Absolutely.
We got Alex here from One Stop Beverage in Avon, Ohio.
Yeah, fresh off of a fantastic tour of the facility.
Excited to be here tonight.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's mash it in. What do you say?
It's time to mash in.
All right, everybody, before we get started, don't forget to like us on Facebook, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're the Blabbermalt Show on YouTube and Facebook, and at Blabbermalt at Instagram and Twitter.
And if you want to email us questions or get a hold of us that way, you can do it at
blabbermalt@gmail.com.
Absolutely. So, Dave, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. Just fresh back from Bike Week. We went down to Sandusky. That's an incredible event they put on. Hundreds, thousands of bikes. I don't know. The streets downtown Sandusky were just lined with bikes. I tried to take a little video and upload it, but there were so many people, there was no internet reception. So, yeah, that just goes to the dustbin, I guess.
No, we'll try to get a midweek upload for you, Dave. This
Okay.
week. How about that?
Yeah, we could do that.
You got to see what's going on for yourself. You had a good weekend.
Yeah, we Billy's old band, or actually two of the bands he played for, Quiet Riot, opened up for Warrant down on the Jackson Street Pier in Sandusky. That was a great time. I was looking at the Wikipedia page for both of those bands, and they each have like 25 or 30 people that have cycled in and out. They both have a couple original members, but it was a great show. Little cool down by the lakefront. We had some northeast winds coming off the lake, and it was chilling it out, but we kept, the hair metal kept us warm.
And don't forget, you mentioned Billy Morris. We're here in his studio, Audio Bay Studios.
That's right.
And hopefully soon we get a chance to have Billy on our show and get a tour of the studio and talk about some rock and roll.
I think that'd be cool.
Absolutely. Hey, did you get a chance to hit any breweries when you were out there this time?
We did. We stopped at Clag and had their. They have a new Czech Pils that's out. I forget the name of it. I forget, but it's good. Had to keep the ABV low because we were driving to Marblehead after that. So I think it checks in around 5%, 4.9 or something like that. But it was a good beer. Then after that, it was straight to the macros. Bud Light, Coors, that stuff.
Busch Light Peach?
No, there was no Busch Light Peach like the mountain of cans we saw.
We should have had Busch Light Peach today.
We should have. Yeah.
Didn't even think about bringing some. That would have been an interesting segue to that. Clay's always a great time, though.
Yeah.
I love their food. Their beer is exceptional.
They got nice sushi plates and some stir fry.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. You'd think when they first started to go and get a bowl of pho and then have some beer, but you do, and it's fantastic.
It is. It really is.
And Kyle's always running around, really being the star of the show.
Yeah, and they have they had the Dora set up there, so the designated outdoor refreshment area, so you could get the plastic cup, leave the brewery, and walk on the street with the beer. It's just a great time.
And in reality, that Dora concept is wonderful for cities. I mean, think about that. What you can do in Sandusky, you can do it in Lorraine. Been trying to get in Avon now for years, but that's not happening anytime soon. But I mean, the opportunity to just take in the city. You don't have to stay in one spot the whole time. You can come and have a beverage and walk around the town. It really just bolsters all of those things, and it's always great to go to a community that has that opportunity for you.
Yeah, I think it brings a lot of people down.
Heck yeah. My weekend was pretty chill, though, man. You were out running around. I'm getting some Lake Erie jealousy.
Yeah, well, we got to get you out there, man.
Yeah, but cool thing about that, I didn't go. I drove by you, though.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I think I was coming home. I ended up taking a trip out that way myself and had some beers. So hit some breweries and snuck across the border into Detroit for a quick second.
Cool.
But had a good time. So really stayed in that area in Sandusky.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Cool. Anything noteworthy to
Noteworthy?
report?
No.
No?
Nope,
Okay.
just some fun.
All right.
Drove up and drove back. thought about seeing where you're at, but I know that I thought you were going to go to a Wicked concert. So
Well, yeah, you should have come down.
Bike Week, not really my flavor, but
Yeah.
it's good to see you though.
Yeah, it was a good time. Everybody's friendly. After the show, everybody just kind of cleared out. It was, no issues.
Nice,
Yeah.
perfect, man.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Alex? You worked the whole time, or what'd you get anything fun this weekend?
Yeah, I worked Friday, Saturday, and spent the rest of the day with my fiance and stepdaughter. And Sunday, me and a couple of the guys from One Stop went out to Sandusky and went fishing for a while.
Oh,
We
cool.
were all in Sandusky in the weekend. That's fun. Good.
You catch anything?
A couple catfish, that was it.
Yeah.
Pretty slow.
Did you keep
It
them?
was a little bit
No.
windy.
Yeah, it was very windy.
Very windy.
Nice. All right, man. How about the Vorloff? It's time for the Vorloff. So, Dave, you mentioned we have Alex with us here
Yes,
from
we
One
do.
Stop.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me tonight.
Absolutely. And he was generous enough to bring with him one of their brewskis.
Excellent.
Yep.
So, want to crack one of those up and get rolling?
Let's do
What'd you
it.
bring? Tell us what you got.
Anchorage Tomorrow is here. It's a double IPA from Anchorage Brewing.
Have you had this one before?
I have not had this before.
good.
Anchorage has been distributing in Ohio for a little bit less than a year still, I think.
So, it's a double IPA, brewed and double dry hopped with Phantasm powder, Strata, and Nelson Sauvin hops. So, that sounds absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, stop in One Stop and grab yourself a
Yep, we got
4-pack.
a couple 4-packs left still.
All right.
So, yeah, it was great for you to give us a tour last week on Tuesday. I really enjoyed that. We got the full gamut. Saw all the beer coolers and all the bourbons you have.
Yep.
And the wines and the cigars now. I mean, that's everything a growing boy needs.
Exactly. Try to have everything there for
Yeah.
customers.
You good to get some drinks? Here you go. Pour yourself some.
Thank you. Thank you.
This looks like a hazy. Maybe it's just double dry hopped. Let's see. One beer. Absolutely. Cheers. Thanks for
Cheers.
bringing.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
It is very good.
That is enjoyable.
So if you're watching this live, you should go right now to One Stop.
Only a couple 4-packs left.
Couple
Yep.
4-packs
get 'em.
left. Alex, we already shared how to get our deets. You've done it before. Why don't you tell us people how to get to you at One Stop? If you want to pick up one of these 4-packs of this. This is a fantastic beer.
Yep. We're located in Colorado Avenue in Avon, just down the street from Avon Brewing Company. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at One Stop Beverage. Number 1.
Denise, go right now and buy the rest of the...
Score some of these.
This is a very good beer. They make excellent IPAs there.
I mean, this is really good. How long you guys open tonight? What are your hours?
We're open till 9 tonight, 9 to 9, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 10, Friday and Saturday, and 11 to 7 on Sundays. We're able to sell liquor all during that time.
Nice. So when we talked about the craft beer wall that you have and the numerous styles, right? We're going to get into that. I mean, this is not just carrying Anchorage.
Yep.
We have like 1,500 craft beers,
Yep.
which is phenomenal. We got a chance to see some of those. So pick one of these up, grab another one when you're there, and support local.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now, we like to ask some of the questions of people when they come in because we are a podcast that does discuss beer, brewing, and bullcrap, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get to some of those bullcrap things and later, but we always ask the question, how did you, right, get into craft beer?
Yeah. When I was about 21 years old, my dad and his brother, my uncle, were in town, and they were drinking Sierra Nevada Torpedo and Lagunitas Little Something. And I tried it. It was the first time I ever had craft beer. I didn't really drink much beer even before that. And I fell in love with it instantly. I think I had my dad run out and give me another 6-pack of the torpedo right away. And then from there, I kind of just dove into it. Beer Advocate was a popular site back then before Untapped. So I was just constantly on there looking at ratings, breweries, all the stuff, going to the stores around me, check out the selections, and just try all the IPAs I could find. I instantly got into the IPAs especially.
Nice. How old are you right now?
30.
30.
Yep.
Nice. So pretty much that's about the time you start, from what I remember, you started at One Stop.
Yep. I started at One Stop when I was 21 as well.
21. I remember those days.
Oh, yeah.
Driving through that ice cold, wonderful drive through with a heater box. And I got to tell you, it doesn't. It's not lost on me when you said Lagunitas, right? Because that was about the time when Lagunitas was really making a big push.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And sometimes it was actually even hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would call down to One Stop and talk to you or James or somebody and said, hey, Alex, save me a Lagunitas, whatever they have at the time. And you guys did really big pushers of that. I think. Yeah,
Lagunitas became huge for us. We were actually the number one sellers in the state of Ohio for it for multiple years, probably 3-4 years at least. We're in the top 3, top 1. It's kind of fallen off from now just because our selection of beers, we've added so much more that it's, kind of fallen by the wayside. But
I think that's important. So think about that, right? Here we are talking about at the time, a beverage drive-through, full-time beverage drive-through, that the majority of the space inside, which you saw on last week's video, was where the cars drove.
Yeah, over a third.
And
of
the offices were there. So
the cars.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you were the number one selling establishment of Lagunitas beer in the nation.
In Ohio, yeah.
In Ohio.
Yep.
Okay. That's still a huge deal.
Oh, yeah.
Huge deal. So
we were quite a bit far ahead, I think, of anyone else behind us.
Got a fly swatter up here. What is going on?
The only stores that were close to us was maybe Jungle Gyms or something down in Cincinnati, which is obviously a much bigger store than a tiny drive-through in Avon.
Which is a gigantic drive-through.
Yes.
I mean, a store, but yeah. So that's a great thing. So your gateway beer, you say, was the Lagunitas.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get connected to One Stop at 21?
I just started going in there, and I was just purchasing beer from them, talking with the guys about beer, and then one of them had told me that they were looking for some extra help. And at that time, I was just going to college and coaching football for Avon. And so I stopped in there one day, talked to Greg, the owner, and then from there, I just started there right before Memorial Day, I think, that year. And, ever since then, I've still been there, obviously, and it's been a great place to work for me.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
So let's go back and have a little time warp, right? We saw the new place in the video. Can you just explain to everybody as much as you can, give us a mental picture of what it was like back in the day as an employee of what I would consider to be an old Avon drive-through, right?
Yeah.
It was one of those old school drive-throughs, right? Talk about that.
Yeah, so before the remodel, we had our liquor was walled off in a little room with some crappy-looking curtains blocking it off. We had a cooler that was the original cooler there, so by the time it was ripped out, I want to say it was about 30, 35 years old. We had no heat, no air conditioning in the building. The garage doors would go down eventually if it became below zero, start popping. Other stuff didn't freeze and blow up on us. Our only source of heat was a wood-burning stove that we'd have to chop up wood for and throw it in there. And if it was going to be a real cold night, we'd have to stock it up before we closed. That way the water pipes didn't freeze.
Oh, my gosh.
I remember mornings coming in where the toilet bowl was frozen over completely, no water.
You saw that hole in the concrete,
Yep.
the filled-in concrete hole.
Yeah, you should walk over where the old toilet is to get into the cooler now. But so it's been a massive change up there. I remember, holidays, you couldn't even get into that place because there's no parking. The drive-through would be wrapped around the building. We had a cord going out back that would pop up the door open for people during the winter. So the change has been massive up there.
Can I tell you about my misguided thoughts on an actual drive-through? It's like, and my only 2 data points are One Stop. They kind of modernized, and in Sandusky we had a drive-through, the beer dock, and it closed. It's bulldozed. So I thought, well, this is a dying business model. But after some quick internet search, it's actually a viable business model. There are some franchise opportunities. I think there's something like 30 states in the union that allow you to have drive-through liquor and cigarette sales. So the only reason I thought that it was a dying business model is because every point of data that I have is they've changed or they've closed. And so you guys had the vision. You can either keep operating, selling as much macro beer as you can and chips and whatever, or you can modernize and go the route you guys did. What's the insight into the decision to do that?
Yep. So Greg always had a vision of remodeling the store and eventually taking out the drive-through. When we were just at the point where we were running out of space, our cooler doors were filled. We didn't really have room to bring in new beers. If we did, we had to keep them warm. And then our wine sales were just very low just because we didn't have any space to add in new wines or making them more presentable and shoppable. Same with the liquor. So with all that and running out of space, our drive-thru was taking up over a third of the store. So it's just time to get rid of it, add in a new cooler, add in a bunch more wine and liquor, products we didn't even have before. We never had cigars before, really. So it just was able to add us a lot more inventory.
Was that something that you saw in the community that as the community kind of came from, a rural farm town, having some new people move in, maybe wanted different products, and to try to provide that?
Yeah, with Avon definitely growing at a rate it was. If it was just an old farm town before, you probably would have been fine keeping the traditional drive-through. But with all the new developments coming in, new people coming in, it was definitely time for us to change along with the city changing. And it's been great for us.
That's great. Yeah, I appreciate it. We've been there. I consider we're kind of new transplants, but we've been there 25 years. And, I do remember when it was a drive-through, and I remember the little back liquor room, and I don't really remember many wines. But
there's
then
very few wines then.
But then when one day I drive by, I'm like, oh my gosh, this place is now a store. Let's go in and see what it is. I'm like, oh my gosh, this. And the beer offerings are legit.
Yep.
And, I was going to Heinen's before, and they have a decent selection, but, One Stop blows them away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just been one of those things as we remodel, we've been able to carry more beer. So some of the limited offerings, like Anchorage, we usually get first dibs on it, so we're able to get the most of it. And, every beer that's offered, we're able to get.
That's great.
Whereas before with the drive-through, we just didn't have the volume to buy that type of stuff. So
I imagine that goes for wines too, and even the spirits, bourbons.
Wine, liquor, it all works together like that.
Yeah, and your bourbon choices are unbelievable too.
Yeah.
Personally, I really enjoy a drive-through, right? I do scope them out in towns that we go through. I try to find where they're at, and there's a good reason why. And this is a long story, but it does make sense. When you drive through a drive-through, you're expecting a different kind of service than you get from going into a brick and mortar store per se. People are moving around, right? They walk up to your car, they talk to you. It's very personal.
Yep.
And you kind of got to know what you want. You ask them questions, so you don't get a chance to peruse the cooler wall. So you're just talking to people, or you're driving really slow, right? What do you got new? So you get a chance to know. It's very personal, right? So I enjoy that. I find them regularly. It was a regular at the One Stop, and it was a drive-through. Heck, I even drove through the other day just on purpose. I think I bought a couple of the waters.
Liquid Death.
Liquid Deaths.
Yep, there you go.
On my way through. So I utilize your drive-through, right? But I do that. I use the Ridgeville drive-through sometimes when I'm headed that way, or have to drive in, or I try to find other places because of that very same purpose.
Yep.
One of my good friends now in Medina really just opened and built a drive-through called Grab and Go drive-through beverage, and Dave Tepper and his family, they did it on purpose. They wanted to have that model, right? And they're expanding a little bit more to have a little bar inside and to offer a little other things. But that drive-through is what he wanted, and I think what makes One Stop today as special as it is, right? And it's not the 1,500 craft beers.
Yes, it is.
Now, that is a huge reason why I go in there, right? Or I call down to you or I text you and say, hey, what do you have coming in?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that post. I'll be down in 5 minutes, right? How many do you have left?
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, that's the exact same thing I did 10 years ago, right? So that model doesn't change, right? So you go to One Stop Beverage in Avon, you're going to get that very same personable, almost drive-through feel because you guys still have a drive-through, but you treat it like that, right? You guys are out and about. You walk out behind the counter on a regular basis. You're not stuck behind there just swiping cards, and you're talking to your people. You're talking to all the customers who come in. You're walking through and answering questions. You're walking up to people, and you're saying, hey, what can I help you with? This is what we got. This is where we're at. What do you need? And so you're really present in people's lives just like you were when it was the drive-through.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really is what makes One Stop Beverage way different than any other, what I would consider to be a brick and mortar, is because of the people. I mean, you've been there for 10 years.
Yep.
And the rest of your staff has been there for quite a long time. And Greg's been there forever, and he's still there. And the chances are you walk back in the office, he's there, or you're there, or, that's just it's a wonderful thing. So much so that we don't put our beer really anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the sole, Lorain County for sure, you're the only place that gets our beer. So if you're ever looking for Avon Brewing Company beer in cans anywhere else, it's going to be at One Stop Beverage all the time. If we have it in cans, and we have connected it all between what do you have left hasn't already sold out, which does happen quite a bit, which is a blessing for us.
Yeah, we moved through the ABC beer quite quickly.
Pretty quick, which is good. You're the only one that carries it, so people know that. We built a relationship together. You carry our Christmas ale in a ton.
Yeah, probably our right up there with the Great Lakes as our best-selling Christmas ale every year now.
No, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
So local supporting local. We love that friendship and collaboration together. But it isn't just a brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
I love the way you guys do that. I love your management technique with people. You talk, you get out, remember people's names, and you do all of those things that really make that drive-through thing wonderful.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you follow these guys on Facebook, you'll see the new beers that are coming in.
Yep.
So you can marry the new technology with the new one-stop model, and you can go through the drive-through and you already know what you want because you follow them and you know that they have it. So follow them on Facebook.
Yep. Please follow us. We post beers every day.
Almost.
The number one
Yep.
stop
Number one
beverage.
stop beverage.
Good pictures. Marketing geniuses.
Yes.
You
You guys
know
also
why?
post your bourbons, new bourbons and stuff like that?
We're not really allowed to post new bourbon.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, we do not post
Okay.
those.
But they post the beers,
Beers will get posted
and
always.
then we just fly right down and you pick it up.
Yep.
Check on tap first. Have I had that yet? What's it look like? I'm coming down. And so those are the things that we do. So along that same model, right? I want to hear your take on that because that's my take on the one-stop beverage model. Why don't you talk about that a little bit? And then also really what is your connection to the local area? You mentioned coaching. I forgot that you coached that long ago. I mean, that's, with my brother-in-law, Dan, you guys were coaching and you were together with that. So I've forgotten that part, but describe that, that connection to the local area and your kind of take on my vision of what I see happening in your establishment.
Yeah, I think your vision is pretty spot on. We always try to make sure that all of our guys are educated on the product coming in. If I tried this on myself, I would, text our guys, hey, give them a description of it or whatever. So they're able to sell it to customers, or customers come in and they have questions, they can answer them. We really pride ourselves on our knowledge and our ability to help customers when they come in instead of going to, a big box store when you just get a regular worker there that might not be into craft beer or into wine or into spirits. So when you come into One Stop, you get that ability to be helped, talk to. We can take our time. We're not in a rush. And we can really just help our customers out, especially if you're in there buying a gift for someone or picking up for your husband or picking up for your wife or something. You can get some knowledge and be able to make a good selection.
And that is a true thing, right? When you walk into One Stop, you're not just going to see one person behind the counter and nobody else in the whole place. There's 2 or 3 people at all times.
Yeah, always 2 people at all times. Typically on the weekends, you'll see 4 of us there.
And for a fairly small facility, right, that's not the norm.
No.
Right? and you do that because of your clientele. So what is that connection then to the local area in Avon?
So for me, I've grown up in Avon. Both my parents actually grew up in Avon, and actually my dad used to work at One Stop back when Ray owned it, so 25, 30 years ago probably. So I always had a connection to One Stop from that. And like you said, I was coaching football, so I got involved in the community quite a bit. Knew a lot of people. So as soon as I started working at One Stop, the majority of the customers came in, and I already knew their face. They knew my face. And then, all the other guys that work there now, they've kind of built that connection as well. So, we know a lot of people on a first-name basis, face-to-face. A lot of us go out in the community, ABC, $2, you'll see us up there enjoying a beer from time to time. So we always just try to support local in the community, like customers support our stores as well.
Really cool, man.
Yep.
We appreciate that, too. We're going to talk about craft beer now. Of course, you buy in mass, whatever's going to be popular. I mentioned the Busch Light Peach the other day, and I bought some from you because of that. So those things are all there.
Oh, yeah.
But what is your are you the one that picks out are you the one that ordering most of the beer?
Yeah, me and Mike kind of split it up, so we both work together on it.
So what is your philosophy on that's a lot of buying power. I mean, you're looking at being able to pick and choose, and you do. A lot of people don't have this, and owning a restaurant gives us the ability to sell retail, right?
Yep.
So we can buy. I could contact a distributor and get this beer by the case and sell it out of our cooler if I want, or put it on our menu. And we did that when we first opened.
Yeah.
That was kind of what our thought was to be. We'd have our 8 to 10 beers. Then we'd have some really cool local, but also some really cool not local beers that people could try. It didn't work for us in terms of people just wanted to drink ABC beer. So that's why we have 24 taps of ABC beer all the time, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But you have the ability to do that, right? You have the buying power to pick whenever you want. We couldn't get certain things. We could never get we could never get Hop Slam because we didn't buy enough of the others to warrant multiple cases, right? Because they're going to be allocated to those people who are buying a whole lot, which makes sense, right?
Yep.
So what is your philosophy in that process? I mean, I know you just don't throw it out there and pick what sticks. How do you do that?
Yeah, so, maybe 5-6 years ago, it was totally different than what it is now with all the new breweries that are out there. Let's say Bell's released a new double IPA 5 years ago. We'd probably be buying 10 cases of it instantly and, having a display on the floor. Now, with all the competition out there, we might only buy 1 or 2 cases, and we were still turning it over quickly. It's just there's so much new breweries. Everybody wants what's new. And so instead of buying, say we buy 50 new cases of craft beer a week, 5 years ago that might have been just 5 different beers. Now it's 30 different beers or 40 different beers. So it's kind of changed the way we'd buy. We saw that starting to happen. So instead of buying, big stacks of everything and having it sit around, sometimes they would, start getting a little old. We changed it and we're buying, maybe 1 or 2 cases of stuff, unless if it's a local brewery that, like something like Fatheads or Hop Juju, stuff like that still always sells tons of cases a year. But so we started switching it to where we're just buying 1s or 2s of stuff, and that's why you see those first 3 doors in our store are constantly changing over with new breweries, new beers almost every week.
So I'm going to come back to that. Let's just stay on that real quick. So what if a brewery hits hard in that first kind of cooler? What do you do?
We'll keep it going. Obviously, we kind of get a feel on based off our customers. We know what if we got a new double IPA coming in from, let's say, Anchorage, we know we probably should get a couple cases of it. Or Equilibrium, we try to get a couple cases if we can. New breweries, same way. We usually get enough to hold us over for the first week or 2 if it takes off. And you kind of have a good idea because people mostly have been asking for, hey, when's Sonder coming into Ohio? When are they going to start distributing up here? So we kind of get a feel from our customers and just social media in general about the buzz, about the new stuff.
So how did you pick? Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, so with all the choices that you have, how do you stay plugged into the craft beer industry? Are there websites? You use Untapped, just social media?
Yeah, mostly just social media and there's word of mouth from customers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pages on Facebook and Cleveland Craft Beer Community and stuff. People are constantly posting it, and it's pretty easy to stay up on stuff. And Mike does a great job at One Stop he's really follows all into that stuff. So,
but it's something you can't just ignore. like the community. You and that's what I appreciate. You're staying plugged in and you're getting stuff that I don't even know I want yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, we always try to stay on top of stuff. If we get word coming up that Anchorage will be having something new coming out, we always stay on top of it, ready to ask our distributor when's it coming, so we can inform our customers. Then, hey, next week we're gonna have new Anchorage IPAs or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate it as a customer. I watch those Facebook posts and they come in, and I'm like, all right, got to get in, got to get in on the new hotness.
It's not great for my pocketbook, but
well,
it's good for my taste buds.
Yeah, right, right on.
That is great. So that's a good question, right? And you answered. Well, what about the rest of your products too, right? You mentioned it. I think what you just said was important because you mentioned it on our tour. If you come into One Stop and you're saying, "Hey, I love this brewery," right? I think they have really good beer, and they're a customer that comes in often. You kind of get a feel for what they're talking about. You might go out and try to spec that out.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the person who's a wino or a nice bourbon that people have had. Say, "I really had this really good." Maybe look at it. You might be looking at carrying.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a good ear to the ground, right?
Yeah. And we got a book. We take all of our orders and we'll look into anything people ask for. Sometimes it's not a product that's available in Ohio, but if we can get it, we will.
Nice. Yep. And do you call them back, or is it something you try to help them out to do? Or
we typically call them back either way, whether we can get it or not.
Special orders. Yep. You didn't hear that from me. I'm not going to put that on your plate.
Yeah.
But it has happened, so that's good.
Yep.
Cool, man. So what is your favorite beer now?
My favorite beer right now, this was probably one of the best ones I've had in a week or two, but typically the Equilibrium IPAs are my favorite, or the stuff from Drecker. Then I constantly switch up, just like our customers. Most of the guys at our store do as well. We're constantly switching what we drink just because there's always something new coming out.
Yeah. No, this is have you had this before today?
No, I have not.
You're lucky you tried it, so you don't have to be careful. All the one-stop employees are going to sneak
it
a
out
few
tonight.
cases tonight.
Yeah, there's none left now.
Holy moly. And I'm going to tell you, I love IPAs, right?
Yes.
Especially the double dry hopped or the New England style. And this doesn't say that on there, but it is a soft New England style IPA. And it's very fruity. It's very soft. It's not bitter.
No, not at all.
And it's fantastic.
Yes.
So thanks for bringing it, brother.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. Our awesome. Yeah. Dave, ready to go to the boil?
Let's go up. Let's go.
It's time for the
All right, so homebrew happenings. Nothing
Homebrew
happening.
happenings.
Nothing happening.
Your shirt's happening.
Oh yeah, I got the
Repping the
Cleveland Craft Brew Shop.
the brew
Get my
shop.
ingredients. I did see a cool electric brew house that's in Virginia for sale on that Facebook page I mentioned. Yeah, I still got to sell some of my old stuff before I pony up for that. But yeah,
I
that's
saw your
still-
marketplace.
Yeah, I post. I'm trying to clear out the garage, selling a bunch of crap, bull crap as it is.
As a bull crap. So, other than electric, right? What you need to do for maybe having it in your garage. Have you looked into what that might do to your award-winning brew style? Have you thought about that?
I don't know.
Have you done any research on that?
I've always brewed with propane. You always hear with electric, there's more scorching with the element being inside, but I don't know what the difference is with having a direct fire right under the kettle. That's going to scorch and
Caramelize your stuff too.
But I don't know. I think that's an old wives' tale, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, I just like most equipment today, and things have definitely changed from
there's
pulling out a hot water heater element and shoving it into a keg like people used to do back in the day. Home
hoping
brewers.
it doesn't leak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they used to happen.
yeah.
So if you're going to get a system that has an updated element, we use an element in our hotback for several things. We use an element to wash our kegs. Very similar concept, and those
They work fine.
they work fine.
They work fine. Yeah.
We have no problems with that. So
So maybe just to tease, I finally contacted Jessica Imes,
Oh,
a
yeah?
fellow snob,
Nice.
and she has a fairly new electric brew house in her house, and she's going to come on mid-July, talk to us about that. So
And answer all my questions I just asked you.
it's selfish for me because I just need her advice on how to set this up. So looking forward to that.
Good.
So in the pro brew world, what's going on at ABC?
So Avon Brewing came this week. We're going to be moving to some summer hours. So we're going to be opening up on Fridays starting at 12 noon
Okay.
for lunch on Friday. So it's going to be a fun place to go and grab some lunch or come early for a happy hour and stay through that. Our happy hour has definitely been upgraded for this summer. We are doing $2 off beer. We are doing half price wings,
Yes.
half price pup chip baskets, and half price buffalo chicken dip appetizer
Okay.
from 3 to 6 p.m. Doesn't matter if you sit inside, outside bar, doesn't really matter, right? So it's a great way to come early and enjoy our patio this summer and take in a few craft beers, have a couple appetizers, stick around for dinner, bring some friends over, have some good time.
Yeah. ZZ's doing similar specials, aren't they?
Yeah, ZZ's has a very similar happy hour. We're doing same time 3 to 6. We're open for Fridays for lunch already now. So come in on Friday and take in that patio over there. We're doing $2 off ABC drafts as well. Half price wings, half price chip baskets there too, but half price pork rinds.
Pork rinds, baby.
So
That's where
you
it's
gotta
at.
love the pork rinds, right?
And you can put the any dry rub on there, right?
Any dry rub, and you get a wet dipping sauce to go with that too. So
Yeah, that's great. If you haven't tried those,
it is great.
Man.
We have a really cool thing happening at ZZ's this summer too. Starting on June 14th, we sponsored two professional cornhole players, both of which placed on the national level. So they're going to be working with Cleveland Cornhole this summer for every Wednesday to come down, and we're going to do a tournament.
Nice.
So anybody can play. Some of the Cleveland Cornhole guys are going to come, so you can see some professional guys toss some bags. If you want to watch them throw, it's kind of fun. They actually rarely miss, which is fun to watch. But it's also going to be open for guys like us who want to come out, and I think it's going to be $10 per person. We're going to extend happy hour on Wednesdays until 7. For those who are playing, come in, pay your $10, get a wristband, put you together in teams, and then you'll play, and winner takes the pot.
You don't want to watch me play cornhole. Toss those things for an hour before, it's terrible. Terrible.
You're terrible?
I'm terrible.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm going to pull it up here real quick if I can find it. Find Chad. Chad Braun is one of our professional cornhole players.
That's cool, though.
Yeah. And Matt Abernathy. Both of those are top notch. So Chad Braun and Matt Abernathy. Check us out on ZZ's and their own stuff. So again, ZZ's 35015 Detroit Road. Every Wednesday starting June 14th. Sign-ups start at 5:30. The tournament will start at 6:30. Half-price wings, pork rinds, and chip baskets will be extended to 7, right, plus $2 off drafts. It's $10 blind draw with a random partner. They're going to use the Cleveland Cornhole. They call it Scoreholio. Scoreholio.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a little app that helps run the tournament. So you'll download the app, create a player profile, and then there's instructions how to do that, right? So the games are a race to 21 or more. Don't need to land on 21. There's no going back. None of the stuff, the house rules typically. Coin flip or bag spin to go. And then it's double elimination, 2 games guaranteed. So you get happy hour pricing and drinks when you're there, and then you get to play. So I think they're going to bring 8 to 10 games, 2 set of boards, so there'll be plenty of area to play. And we really hope it's going to be something fun to utilize that space at ZZ. So Wednesdays, not tomorrow, but starting next Wednesday, 5:30 start, $10 in. Let's play some cornhole.
I think you might see me up there for one of those.
Should be fun, right?
Yeah,
Sounds cool.
Sounds fun.
We're definitely happy about that. And so utilizing that green space is something we've always wanted to do. I'm unable to put a volleyball court out there, but this is, I think, more fun because I'm not playing volleyball. Alex can play volleyball with me?
Most likely not.
No, but we'll play $10 and play cornhole and get some extended happy hour times.
Sir.
That's it right there.
I'll be up there, but not for the cornhole. I'll be there for the pork rinds.
Half price pork rinds.
Yeah.
And you can watch either Chad or Matt play cornhole. Toss some bags. Watch them sink them. See why they're professionals.
Right.
Dave can be a professional drinker and professional pork rind eater.
Pork rind eater. Oh, yeah, definitely.
We'll go with that.
All right, man. Look, I put this in here under the Pro Brew Happenings, but I think this is a good effort. It's the Ohio Craft Brewers Association Brewers Freedom Alliance. They're trying to exempt small craft breweries from being tied into these onerous contracts with distributors. I'm going to butcher this, and then you guys can correct me. The Ohio Alcohol Beverages Franchise Act of 1974 was originally designed to protect these distributors from giant breweries that would abuse them. But now these distributors are so big, they'll buy up a brand of beer just to tie it up and not really push it and sell it. Is that a correct assessment of the problem?
Yes, there is the problem, right? And so what is happening is, so if I really want to get my product into store shelves, right, I can do one or two things in Ohio, which Ohio is wonderful in that. Our OCBA, Ohio Craft Brewers Association, has done a wonderful job of helping us to be independent as we are. I can self-distribute, right, all across the state. So I can take my can of beer, right, my 4-pack in cases, and I can go to one stop and deliver them. I can go all across the state and do that. And a lot of places started out doing that. Rheingeist did that for a very long time. They had their own cold trucks. Sibling does some of that in a bigger scale, right? But really that is hard to do. It's very time-consuming and laborious and can be difficult. And so what people tend to do is say, I really want my beer on the shelf, right? I want my beer in one stop, and you're not from Avon. How do you do that, right? Well, you can go and make friends and talk to Alex and crew and hope that he buys your beer. Or you can sign up with a distributor whose sole purpose is to distribute your beer to these stores for you, right? And, of course, they then become partners with you in that endeavor. They get a cut. You get a cut as part of the process. They help to promote you. They co-brand with you. And it can be a really, really good relationship. Until it's not, right? And we don't have a distributor for lots of reasons. But to talk about it from my side of why we didn't do it is this very same thing. And I'll read some stuff to you in a moment. But it is important, right? Because when you look at it, I know 3 to 4 breweries off the top of my head that almost lost their entire business because they were not able to get out of their contract with their distributor. They bought a bunch, they didn't sell it. They sat on it, right? And this is again coming from their side of the stage, right? And it really did major damage to them. Some had to be closed for a while. Some changed their name. Some closed forever.
And the distributors, they'll say, "Well, your beer's not selling," when in fact, maybe they have too many brands in that particular category, and they're not pushing it. Mm-hmm. And you can't go around that distributor and sell directly.
Yep.
To somebody who wants it, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and so some talking points from the OCBA, it does talk about partnering with the Brewers Freedom Alliance, the BFA, for just common sense franchise law. That's all the people are asking for, just common sense franchise law to help out small brewers like myself, right, to be able to get on the store shelves. The BFA wants to reform the Ohio Alcohol and Beverage Franchise Act of 1974, which is a very long time ago, and free us brewers from outdated and unfair contracts. One of the things we talk about is that in Ohio, the first craft brewery didn't open until 1988, and today there's over 400 craft breweries, and a lot has changed since '74, and it really so should our laws. It's a pretty antiquated concept, and again, we want our laws just as fresh as the beer that we brew, and so when looking at that, we just want common sense in the process, be able to, and fair for everybody, but be able to remove ourselves from a place that's not doing any good for anybody.
Right.
If my product's not moving under your establishment, you're not selling it, Well, why would you want to sit on that product too? So maybe we just part ways within the contract, and we move on to somebody else who might be more.
I think you might be being a little too kind. I mean, they want to sit on it because they have other things they want to sell.
Well, for sure. I mean, this beer's on the shelf, and they have 1,000 cases of this to sell, right? And they're going to mark it up pretty high, and they know it's going to go because it's a fantastic beer, and it's the hot thing of the day. Really cool looking can. The beer tastes phenomenal. Darling of the day. Put this on a truck, right? Put this logo on a truck, around it goes.
Oh yeah.
And then the local guy who is, trying to do their best to stick around, we're going to sell 1,000 cases of this to 1,500 suppliers, and you only have 3. It just is what it is. And so I can be nice about it because I'm on air, but with that being said, we want to make sure that you're out there. We can post some of these links on our page too to help out some craft brewers. I think it's important to talk about that. But do some research on your own.
So that is a what am I trying to say here? You can go sign that to support this as a brewer or as a customer. Can you do anything?
Yeah, about everything for sure.
Okay.
Yep, I'm going to post some stuff on Avon Brewing here soon. We'll try to get some stuff on our Blabbermalt pages as well.
Cool.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that would be very helpful
for sure.
So I also put this on here. Saucy has 2 bits of news, kind of on the bad side. They're closing their pub in Detroit, which is maybe something to talk about in a second. But on the good side, that Put in Bay place, they had a video up, and they're cleaning it, and they're painting it, and it's looking ready to open this summer, like any second. Mm-hmm. So I think we got to get up there and check it out.
I'm in.
Okay. All right. We'll figure that out. My question is, I see Saucy closed and these locations that started in one city, closing locations in distant cities. Do you think that maybe the day is over when breweries can open in other markets and, just a little pub and do well? I mean, I know Southern Tier did that and they are doing well, but that was a different time when they opened.
Yeah, I think that has to be the right time, the right place, and the right location. I mean, that location in Detroit was tough, right?
Yeah.
And I do applaud Saucy for not being so concerned with some of their maybe their investors or other people who were involved to say, it's just not right. It's not right for our brand. It's not right for our cause. It's okay to take a step out and to be excited about a project and opportunity and then say, you know what, we're going to refocus, right? We all did that during COVID, right? To just say, hey, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. We're not going to throw, if it's going bad and poorly, we're just going to pull back a little bit. You have to own up to it. Yeah. Own up to it, step around and make adjustments. And if it's better for them in the moment to open up that place there in Put in Bay, which it looks like that's going to be a great thing for the year.
That place is going to
wonderful, right?
Yeah.
But if it does stick around and do really well, and people take a hold of it and grasp it and run with it, it might be fun. So I don't think it's necessarily dead. It's just got to be the right place at the right time. People have to gravitate towards that. And Saucy has a good brand. And so it might be difficult, especially getting out and about.
I think if I go to Detroit, if I find myself in Detroit, I'm probably not going to the Saucy pub because there's Detroit breweries, Michigan breweries I want to go to. You know what I mean?
You might not, right? But if they kind of connect to their local place there, because it was a coffee shop too, right?
Yeah.
But just like we talked about Southern Tier, they are working even more diligent now coming out of COVID to try to connect back to Cleveland. Because all that whole landscape changed in 2020, 2021. So they're trying to recoup that same thing too, right? How do we become that Cleveland-centric space, right? And if you have people on board who can do that and create a really cool kind of a connection to your city and your community, right? All the power to them. So that's really what it's at, right? Yeah. People want a local spot that they can go to and say, this is mine. This is mine. This beer is brewed for us. And we're going to have fun being here, a place to socialize and gather and be there for birthdays.
My favorite beer,
right? And maybe that is for somebody. You never know.
True.
Good for Saucy. I can't wait to get up to that put-in location and see what's going on. Have some brews.
All right. For the teaching segment tonight,
I
thought we'd talk about the different concepts of how you drink a flight of beers. You know, you go to a brewery, you order a flight of beers, different styles, different flavors. There's a couple different schools of thought. My wife, she will taste them all and then drink them from her least favorite to her favorite. Is that correct? Yeah.
I've seen it a bunch.
Yeah. Other people will just not taste them all, just maybe go with the lightest, drink to the darkest, or keep the stranger flavors for the end and just go through one by one. So where do you guys fall?
I typically go light to dark myself.
Yeah.
And I go one by one.
Drink the whole thing.
Drink the whole thing and move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yep. So that's what I do as well, right? I like to, for a while, I kind of got away from flights because you really don't get a whole grasp of all of the beer in a 5-ounce little pour. But then it's really hard to have 4 or 5 pints of things that you want.
It can be done.
Right? But it can be done. So we've gone to kind of sharing some flights too, if necessary. Depends where we're at. So if we're going to get 2 flights, we'll get 2 flights and kind of have a try of all of them, and then really kind of go back to the ones we really enjoyed and have a full pint of that. But for me, doesn't matter light to dark. I kind of just however I put it down, bring it out to me, and I might pick and choose a little bit. Of course, the big nasty beers. I mean by nasty, like hyper hopped, my fave.
Yep.
Right? Some milkshakes or stuff that can be on the end because you want to blow your palate out before you head into those things.
True.
But like at Avon Brewing Company, we kind of just give it to you how you order it. So if you're all over the place, it's like I want this and I want this, and we kind of give it to you that way because that's what you've asked to do. We don't rearrange them for you. So
I don't know if we taught anybody anything, but I think we did maybe.
Here's the thing. We'll teach you right now. Go to a local brewery and order some beer.
Yeah.
And enjoy that flight of beer in any way that you want. Sip it, which you love, and you still do it. Chug it. Have a sip of all of them, one at a time, right? That's it. That's your teaching method. Go to a brewery and get a flight. Try them all.
You've been learned.
Try them all till you try them all. That's a rule.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about beer events coming up. We have the Grand Slam Summer Beer Fest is down at Progressive Field. It's actually in the stands and on the field. That's July 29th. There's a afternoon session and evening session. It's a Saturday in July. We're usually up in the islands, so I haven't been to that one yet. You guys been to that one?
I have.
Yeah.
Yep. We used to go to it as a brewery.
Yeah.
Not my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
But they do have it's like every other brew fest, right? There's lots of people there and lots of opportunities to try different beer. So if you're looking at trying to get to places you haven't been or try different beers or really just enjoy the ballpark on a nice, warm, sunny day.
Probably the coolest thing.
It's a great place to go, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And then we have, I don't know if it's too early, in August, we have the Lorraine Waterfront Brew Fest.
Mm-hmm.
That is August 12th, 1 to 6 p.m.
Yep.
And they also have the homebrew competition there. So if you're a home brewer, get your beers, on the drawing board, get them brewed up. Probably not now, but, wait a little bit, brew those up, and get them entered because you have a chance to, brew at one of the sponsor breweries.
Yeah, and absolutely. I pulled up some stuff for us. We could really talk about that better.
Yeah.
66 days, 16 hours till we're ready
fast.
to roll, right? There's a VIP hour from 12 to 1, like most places are. The website is brewfestwd.com. Brewfestwd.com. There's plenty of tickets available. Again, lots of local regional breweries, meaderies, wineries, cideries, food, games, music. Bands are playing in the background.
The Red Cross is there. There's a guy selling knives. I mean, there's no limit to what you find there.
It's all over the place. So come on down, check it out.
It's a good one.
I think so. Have you been to that, Alex?
I've not been there yet.
Oh, we should get you
Think
off
I'll
work
make my
and
way
bring you
down this
down,
year.
right?
Yep.
One Stop Beverage could have a table there. We can
Might be a
do
good
something.
idea.
Yeah.
They'll probably let you do that. Gives you a banner for sure. Promote yourself there. That's a good idea. If you're watching out there for the board, get a hold of Alex at One Stop. Drive in and see him. Support local. Give him some stuff. Get him a table. Get him down there. We'll get you going, bud.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. All right,
Cool.
Dave, what do you got for us?
Let's talk a little bit about some music events coming up. Cleveland Magazine sent me an email, and they had a bunch of stuff listed there. Gigs on the Green is a bunch of live bands rotating around different sites in the Cleveland area. Starts in June. Public Square, Worthington Yards Courtyard. I don't know where that is. Voinovich Park, Huntington Park. There's no bottles or cans, so no outside beverages, but it's downtowncleveland.com /gigs on the green.
Mm-hmm.
We can put that. We'll put these links in the
For sure.
show notes. But we also got the First Friday Hop concert, the first Friday of June, July, and August. They do have food and beverage vendors down there. It's also at downtowncleveland.com, and they have a list of the different bands that are playing. These aren't all rock and roll bands. There's some symphony music and stuff like that. Stuff that I don't listen to, but other people do. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, folks, calm down. Symphony at Sunset every Sunday in June and July. Chamber ensemble music by Opus 216 with an exclamation point at Voinovich Park. So that's some pretty cool stuff. We don't usually talk about those kind of events. When I was looking for brewery events, I was on the Muffleheads brewery site, and the Rumors is the premier Ohio Fleetwood Mac tribute band. Mm-hmm. They're doing a 3-piece acoustic set at Muffleheads, and that's this Saturday. It's down in Wakeman. That's pretty cool.
Have you been to Muffleheads before?
I have not, but we've had their beer at the Waterfront Fest.
Mm-hmm.
I've always enjoyed it, so I think I want to get out there and check out that brewery. Maybe we'll get them on the show.
Might as well.
So tomorrow, Beatallica is playing at the Foundry in Lakewood, and that's a band that mashes up the Beatles and Metallica. They're crazy good. Yeah. So I'm not going to be able to make it because we're heading to Marblehead, but my buddy Lonnie's going. So Lonnie, you have a good time. Behave yourself.
Report back.
Yeah. I also saw Plaid Sabbath is the band that when we had Todd Donnelly on, he plays drums with them, and they're like a Scottish traditional and not so traditional Scottish pipe band. They're playing at Wildwood Cultural Center in Mentor, so that's pretty cool. Get out there and check them out.
It is cool.
Shania Twain, again, we mentioned this before, June 30th.
Shanwa.
Playing at Blossom. If you have that Blossom pass, I think that's included.
Nice.
So
I do have something to add really quickly.
Yeah.
We are here in Lorain County, looking at kind of the Rockin' on the River in Lorain.
Yeah.
Right? Check them out. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. Hotel California, Eagles Tribute on Friday. Then the 16th, Garth Brooks and Shania Twain tributes. The list goes on, but that's a local venue. It's a beautiful space. And I almost forgot to say that this week, Brew Kettle opened up their new location.
Oh, did they?
Yes, in Canton. They took over the Canton Brewing Company. So it looks beautiful over there. So if you're ever in that area, check out the new Brew Kettle in Canton.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Check that out.
For sure.
All right. So we're running short on time here, but we did have an email question.
Mm-hmm.
Is seltzer considered beer?
That is a great question, and one that I'm sure would get some of us stabbed if we were in Germany. What do you before I give my answer, what do you guys think?
Personally, we categorize it beer at One Stop. That's the way it's sent to us from the distributors. So I'm going to go with beer.
I mean, it's taxed under TTB as beer, right? It's a malt beverage.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not a malt beverage, but it is taxed under the same category as beer.
Yeah.
It could be,
yeah.
Right? And some do use actual malted grains, but the process is a little bit more stringent in terms of how to get it clean and clear.
Yeah.
But it can be more cost effective for people to do that. For us, we don't do that. We use dextrose, which is a corn sugar.
Yeah.
Which is totally allowable, right? And it is taxed under the category of beer. But to be a beer, technically, right, it has to have what in it? Hops.
Yeah. Water. Yeast. Barley.
Yeast and barley, right? Malted grains. So question is a seltzer beer? No, It is not.
You changed your answer.
I did. I did.
So
did.
I get some static from some people on Untapped, no names here, but for checking in seltzers on Untapped. But they're there, so I check them in sometimes.
Well, you're not wrong. We heard from a retailer here that says that it is beer, right? They get it in with their beer orders. It is taxed as beer. They send it in, and when they pay their taxes at the end, it is beer. So it is not. But here's the question. We talk about that. I know we're running out of time, but that's just like saying cider and meads, right, are the same as wine because they're taxed and doing the same category. So just because I can brew it in a brewery, right, and it's taxed the same method, doesn't mean that it's beer because for me personally, it is not. But some places do make seltzers with malted grains.
I'm going to say it is.
Go for it, Dave.
So we win.
We win. 2-1. Ty, what do you got? It's not 2-2, Dave. I got the wife on my side.
Hey, man, come on. That's not fair. That's not
little
fair.
Fun dance.
All right, so upcoming events. I teased this a little earlier. Mid-July, we have Jessica Imes coming in, talk about electric brewing and, her brewing. She's an award-winning brewer, too, so we can talk about all those things. If you want to contact us, Facebook and YouTube, we are The Blabbermalt Show and at Blabbermalt on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes.
And if you have email questions, send them in to blabbermalt@gmail.com.
One more time on the round for one stop. How do we get a hold of you?
Find us on Colorado Avenue, 37565. We're open 7 days a week, 99 during the week, and find us at One Stop Beverage on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
That's one.
Yes.
One for the best one.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, guys. Appreciate you coming out today,
Yeah,
Alex.
thanks, Alex.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks
It's
for
been a
the
blast.
tour. Thanks for the beer. We appreciate your time. Until then.